and score. When they were appointed, it was stated in plain English that they would be required to present progress reports every 2 months, with a final report on the 7th of March 2026. This finality deliberately falling neatly on the same date as the expiry of the 2 signatures of the document. Their sole mission, therefore, was to ensure implementation of the 10 items and deliver a final report on the 7th of March, period. What we witnessed yesterday was a shameful charade meant to hoodwink the public that the MOU had been implemented when it is obvious to all Kenyans that nothing could be further from the truth. This fact became apparent in a most embarrassing manner when attendees led by the Governor, Cecily Mariri, openly challenged the President on the content of the so-called report. Observers would also have noted that the President purported to extend the mandate of the committee by another 60 days in the same meeting where Dr. Oburu had earlier argued that there was no time limit in the implementation of the MOU. The confusion that Kenyans witnessed at KICC yesterday is enough proof that the so-called broad-based team are aware that they are lying not only to Kenyans but to themselves. We want to also make it clear that the ODM-PG as an organ has no powers under the party constitution to make decisions such as they purported to make yesterday. You will recall that prior to and during the signing of the now expired MOU, it was the party's National Executive Committee under the leadership of the late Raila Odinga that processed and superintended the process. The purported extension is therefore ultra-vires, unconstitutional, null and void. Be that as it may, we have also held the position that whether or not the MOU had been implemented cannot be a matter of conjecture. If abductions and extrajudicial killings stopped after the signing of the MOU, we would all know because we all live here. If counties have received 450 billion shillings in shareable revenue in the current financial year, we would all know. If indeed Ruto and his government honored their pledge to respect the identity and integrity of political parties, it will be obvious to all of us. Today, we wish to present Kenyans a full report detailing the failures in implementation of the 10-point agenda, breaking down each agenda item and the falsehoods used to wrap them. Indeed, we have noticed that at the tail end of its mandate, the committee suddenly started traveling across the country, purporting to be conducting public participation. Yet the resolution to the 10 agenda items lay squarely with the regime of President William Ruto. Our expectation was that the committee would be domiciled at State House, seeking answers there on a daily. Thank you very much. That is a statement on behalf of this team. And at this particular moment in time, we will go straight to the report so that we are able to present our view of the state of implementation of that MOU. I would like to invite on stage the Member of Parliament, Super South, SG Azimio, Majority Leader, National Assembly, the Honorable Karoli. Thank you. Karoli, the meeting has given you 15 minutes to go through the report. Thank you.
Asante sana, Bwana SG. Good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to be here this morning, and I have with me what was launched yesterday here and what we are launching today. And the difference is amazing. Not just in terms of presentation, but in terms of the contents and details. 15 minutes, try and make good use of them. Let me start by explaining why we feel it is important that as Linda Mwananchi, we must also give a report on the 10-point agenda. First, we are here to defend Baba's legacy. That is why we are doing this. It is so important for us. And I think it is important for Kenya and those who have been with Baba all along in his quest for a better Kenya. This particular document has Baba's signature. So it is important that people get an accurate, truthful, independent, impartial, and correct report on what is being done about Baba's commitment to Kenyans when he signed the 10-point agenda. We are here to make sure political fraud is not committed on Kenyans in the name of Baba. That is why we are here. We must protect Baba's legacy. That is our duty as members of ODM, as members of Linda Mwananchi, as people who worked with Baba. Secondly, whether it is NADCO or whether it is the 10-point agenda, these documents were made in the name of the people. So there must be a people's report, not what you saw yesterday, a conspiracy of some sort. The people themselves must give a verdict. And what we are going to give here today is the people's report on what they think on the implementation of NADCO and the 10-point agenda. And finally, we all have national values in our constitution. There must be accountability. When leaders make certain public commitments, they must be held accountable. What we are trying to do here is to hold those who signed this to be accountable to Kenyans. So people may ask, how did we get about in compiling this report? What was our methodology? We did exactly what is expected in a situation like this. We had broad surveys, we contacted people by phone, by email, we asked questions, we engaged with the public. What do you think has been achieved on these particular issues? NADCO had 10 points, 10-point agenda had 10 points. So Kenyans have given us feedback. It is this feedback that we are now communicating to the rest of the world so that people can understand this. We looked at government records. We reviewed records in parliament, which bills have been passed that were supposed to be anchored on either NADCO or the 10-point agenda. We looked at what has happened in the executive. How are they conducting executive business? Are they complying with the 10-point agenda? We looked at the judiciary. What decisions have been made in terms of the rule of law and constitutionalism? And we looked at the reports of other independent organizations, especially those in the civil society like